gonna shock the world here.
I'm calling for an open tryout. If anyone is watching this, I'm calling for an open tryout. I got a year of eligibility left.
Might have some.
Anthony, where is home for you?
Home is Medway.
That's wrong.
All right, I hear what you're saying, but I'm just have to disagree.
While we were in class this morning, I was watching his mixtape, and this guy catches and shoots from anywhere.
Are you ready for some debate? Because Bobcat Breakdown starts right now.
Welcome to another episode of Bobcat Breakdown. I'm your host, Ashley Potvin, and alongside me are Mike Singer and Emily Sweeney. Are you guys ready for some debate?
I'm ready to go. Emily, are you?
Yeah, I'm very ready for this debate. I've been waiting for this matchup for about 3 years now, so I'm excited to finally get it.
Well, great. Let's get right into it. After clinching the regular season champions title, the men's basketball team went into the MAC tournament as the 1 seed. The Bobcats beat Canisius in the quarterfinals and lost at the buzzer to St. Peter's in the semifinals. What do you think led to their downfall in the semifinals game? Mike, let's start with you.
You know what? I'm going to be honest. It was their shooting. In general, if they were standing on a boat, they couldn't hit the water. They just could not shoot if it could save their life, Emily.
No, I actually agree with you. I do think it was their overall shooting. Also, I do think their free throws were a big problem. They missed 10 free throws. It was a 2-point game, 62-60. That's how they lost. You missed 10 free throws. Those are points that could put you into winning. They went 17 for 27 on free throws. And if you look at their shooting overall, it was not good. Their three-point conversion, 30% over that game. Their field goal percentage, 37.7%. And their free throws, 63%. And in every one of those categories, St. Peter's was out-shooting them by almost 10 or 11% in each category. Besides the field goal percentage, they were kind of close in that. I think it was like a 1-point-something difference. But the shooting and the free throws were a huge issue in that game, and you could see it from all of them.
Just to further go off your point, you just saw Matt Belong take a shot. He went 1 for 6 for three-pointers. He barely could score. When he's one of your star players, along with Amari Tice, who went 2 for 7, and Alexi Reyes, who went 2 for 5. That was the difference maker right there. They really couldn't get any three-pointers, and in the end, unfortunately, they only lost by 2 points. It was simply 2 points.
Yeah, and if you look at those players, Matt Belong normally is scoring in the 20s. His average points per game before the tournament were around 18 point something. And when he was at the tournament in that game, he only had like 15 points. When your highest score is not producing. If you look at the 2 games in general, I think it was over the 2 games, Matt Belong had 32 points, and Paulo Tieno had 31. He was at 1 point off, and usually that's not the case. Usually Matt Belong is producing much higher, but he doesn't in Atlantic City, and that's been proven over his 6 years here.
All right, let's move on to the next question. Things were all negative with the Bobcats, with the men's team having multiple players shine on the box score. Let's kick this one off with Emily. Who do you think was your impact player during the playoff run?
Yeah, I think this one was kind of difficult for me. I actually went with somebody who had the biggest impact moment. I think if you look at this, it's Richard Favors. He's someone who came in and had a moment that impacted the entire game. Without Favors in that game, I don't know if the result would have been as close. If you look at the moment, they're down 10 points. Not a lot of time left. You're down 10 points. Belong's struggling from 3. He can't hit it. You said it. 1 for 6. The guy could not hit a shot from 3, and they needed to cut that deficit. Favors comes in off the bench, has 6 minutes in the game. He gets a shot off, and that shot will go in for 3. Not only did it help get them on a momentum to get the game tied 60-60, but Michael, it also did something bigger than that.
You can't just go off one game.
Quinnipiac record for most three-pointers.
You can't go off. My impact player, I'm going to say Alexi Reyes. Alexi is his name. Basketball is his game. He had 7 total rebounds.
His name is Alexis, but
you know what? If we're going to, the Demon Barber, Emily Sweeney, the Demon Barber from the media suite, out to get me. It was his 4th straight game as a starter. He averaged 7.8 points in each game. He was overall the best player in the 2 games that they were there. You can't just go based off that single game.
Was his impact as big as Richard Favors' 3,
yes,
putting them in the momentum? Alexis Reyes was hitting those shots in both games, but did it change the entire pace of the game?
But you can't just base it off. You can't base off one player off one game.
Also, impact per minute. Favors had 15 minutes over the 2 games.
If you're going to talk about minute,
he had a big impact.
What about the numbers from Reyes? He played a full hour over the course of 2 games.
But he wasn't somebody who had impact plays. The impact play, without Richard Favors, 3-pointer right there, this team does not get close enough.
I think we just got to move to the next question. It's okay to admit you're wrong.
Yeah, let's move on to the women's side here. The women's basketball team had a record of 13-18 and 9-11 in conference. They went into the MAC tournament as the 7th seed and took on the 10 seed St. Peter's in the first round, where they beat them in overtime. In the quarterfinals, they lost to 2 seed Niagara by 15. Knowing this, would you say the trip to Atlantic City was a success? Emily, we'll start with you.
100%. This trip to Atlantic City was a success. I know what you're thinking, they didn't win, but winning is not success.
Yes,
let me ask you.
Is getting a B- on your final project a success? No,
Yeah,
you go for the A.
If you're somebody who started,
you don't go for a B-,
if you're somebody
you go
who
for an
started
A.
failing, you had Fs in the first half of your semester. You're failing every class. Then when you get into the end of the semester and you start getting Bs, that's success. It's because success has to be measured through growth. Let me give you a little quote here. I know you're a big Winston Churchill fan.
Okay.
So I got a quote. Success is stumbling from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. And let me tell you, this team started off with a bunch of first years, not a lot of experience in college basketball. Their captain got injured. Then Ella O'Donnell, basically the second in command, she gets injured. They had 3 injuries on big players.
But they had, okay, so you were mentioning that. They did go on their 16 run, and they started winning towards the end, but then they went to Atlantic City. They were not heavily favored, but people thought that this could be their year. They slip in as one of those Cinderella runs, and they ultimately failed at the end. They won 1 game, and everyone was like, oh, maybe this is the year. And then they just walked
women's
into that
basketball
brick
team
wall.
last season in Atlantic City didn't win a single game. The growth from last season to this season, success. The growth from the beginning of this season
one game
to
though. You
now,
don't go, well, we won 1
success.
game. Congrats for us. Whoop-de-doo. You want to go,
but
you
the team
go
that-
into Atlantic City knowing that it's all up
Head
for
coach
grabs and
Trisha
that anything
Fabry
can happen.
and the players both claimed that this run was a success because next season, I'm telling you right now, next season, this women's basketball team, if there are not too many transfers, they're going to win the MAC.
But you're talking in a game of hypothetics now.
If there's a baseline.
Am I right?
If you start,
it's just
if you
ifs
start
right now.
with failure,
All right.
you get to winning, it's success.
It's now time for our first commercial break of the night. When we come back, we'll be debuting a new segment called Is the Stat Right? This will be a fun one, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie. Nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What?
I can't drive.
Why? My. Oh.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie. Nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for a new game called The Stats Are Right. Both contestants will be shown a stat, and they will have to decide if that stat is higher or lower than the given stat. Each contestant was given 2 paddles, a red paddle for lower and a green paddle for higher. Are you both ready?
Yeah, we're ready over here.
Okay, first question. Did both QU teams commit higher or lower than 70.5 turnovers across their 4 games in Atlantic City?
Oh, 70.5. I think that's close because I know how many fouls the women's basketball team had because
Congratulations, but do you know how much the men's team had?
I think I do. I'll let you answer first.
I'm going to go with under.
Under 70.5. I'm also going to go under. How many do you think they had? Because I think it's 70. I think it's 70.
I think they might be at 65.
I think it's just under because I know women's basketball had 46, I believe, because they had 11 in the first and 35 in the second game.
Okay. Ashley?
So you guys were both right. It was lower, but Mike Singer takes this one with the exact number of 65 turnovers.
And the crowd goes wild. Singer with the big steal at the beginning.
So Singer's up 1-0.
I think someone fed you the answers.
I don't know. I think you're just salty that you lost the first one.
All right, so we're going to go on to the second question now. In their semifinal game against St. Peter's, did men's basketball make higher or lower than 15.5 free throws?
15.5 free throws. I know they didn't make very many in that game.
I think based off the one time we agreed, doing the math about them making and missing all that. I'm going with the under on this one.
Because I don't want to be the same as you, and I think maybe it's
Why? I'm a winner. You're right now not winning. Why would you not want to beat me?
Everyone's talking about how many they missed. So I think it's a trick question, and they would try to trick us up. So I'm going to go higher.
You heard it here first.
Maybe around like 17.
I think they went under. I don't know the number. I just know it was under.
Do you have a guess on the number?
Oh, Lord. I'm going to go with... I don't know. I don't have a guess because I know I'm right. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Well, Emily, unfortunately for you, Singer was right again.
And the crowd is still going wild.
I
Singer
really
up big
don't
2-0
think
lead.
the crowd is going wild.
I think the crowd is going. You see everyone around going nuts, going crazy.
I don't see that.
I see that.
Okay, guys. Let's finish this round out with a few monster performances. Did more than 3.5 players across both basketball teams register a double-double in Atlantic City?
What do you think?
I got to think about this really quick. Well, I'm thinking I'll let you go.
I think it's under.
Ladies first.
I think it's 2. I think it was Ella O'Donnell and Paul Otieno. I think. I know Ella O'Donnell did. I'm not
But do you know if one of the men's did?
I think Paul Otieno might have been the only one. I'm not sure.
You know, I think I've gone 2 red so far. I think this time I'm going to go green. I think I'm going to say they had over this time. Just at this point, I'm up 2-0. Well, let's take a chance and gamble. I'm going to go over.
All right, Ashley.
This one is lower.
Was it Paul Otieno and Ella O'Donnell? Do you know?
There were actually 3 players.
Were they 2 of them?
Yes, they were 2 of them. It was
Wow,
Paul Otieno, Ella O'Donnell,
Okay, I think that point might have been
and
rigged.
Grace LaBarge.
When did Grace LaBarge get a double-double?
I know. I still. Well, you know what? 3.5.
I think some of these answers are wrong, but.
Because you're losing? Is that what? Because I'm up.
No,
2-1
because I
now?
have stats on my.
Which I think that was a little cheap to say the least.
Okay,
but
guys.
You know what? That's
We're going to move on to our 4th question. Higher or lower? Ava Seleni and Carson Martin combined for 55.5 points in their 2 playoff games.
I am, as one of the online editors from QBSN, trying to go based off my memory on what I've written from our boys that did cover the tournament down there. I'm going to go with under.
I'm going over. I think they scored 58.
That's also because you're a beat reporter. I think you have a little insider information there.
Yeah, and I let you have the first 2, so I gotta.
I'm sure you did.
I'm still gonna check those numbers later, by the way, because I'm.
At that point,
sure,
when I
I'm
win
pretty
already,
sure
it's
it
not
was
going to
70.
matter.
That
Okay,
first answer, I'm pretty sure it was 70.
You know what, Ashley? What do you got for us?
Okay, so it's actually higher, and Emily was correct with a score of 58 points combined.
Congrats. All right. Tied
So
up
what
at
is
2.
it now, 2-2?
Knotted up at 2. This
Okay.
is game-winning goal
We
here.
got one last question for you guys. Did Matt Pelonk make more or less than 5.5 3-pointers in Atlantic City this year?
More or less than
More or less
5.5.
3-pointers in Atlantic City this year. I am going with under. I know for a fact he went under.
He went under, and I think it was 3.
I also think she's right. I actually think
You
it's
can't
3. I'm
agree
trying
with me.
What am I
You
supposed?
didn't know
If I
the
know the
answer.
answer
You
is
didn't
3,
know the
I have to
answer.
think. We just talked
I
about
said
it.
Okay, guys.
I
Okay,
know
guys.
I-
Let's
I
settle
know I
down
picked
over
under
here.
first, so if you want to be a follower, then
Ashley, tell him
by
I
all
picked
means.
3, and I'm right.
I am-
and
I don't
win.
think that's true.
So you both were correct, and you both We're correct that it was 3.
But I said it first.
However, Emily said it first.
Yes!
So
What
I am
is this?
gonna give the win to Emily on this one.
This is rigged.
And
I
when
want
we-
to read
when
down
we-
on this.
When we come back, I'm going to tell you it had to be 70 turnovers that
Okay,
first
you know what?
one, and then
you
I'll
know
rewrite
what?
my vote anyway.
Fine, that's fine.
So let's
Whatever
bring
you
it back to me.
All right, Ashley, what we got next?
So let's give a hand to our contestants. So they did great. And with that, it's time for another commercial break of the night. Be sure to stay tuned with us because when we return, we'll be taking it to the mats for acrobatics and tumbling and to the ice for men's ice hockey. Stay with us.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a unique mix of all kinds of things.
Come on, Jules, spot on this last one. There it is. Keep going with it. Leo.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job.
I need a new career.
Well, I've been there.
I've been there.
I've been there. I wasn't happy with what I was doing.
After high school, I didn't have a plan.
I just wanted to start working.
I got laid off twice, but you gotta keep going.
You just need the right skills. Find an apprenticeship.
I found a 2-year IT program.
I found a medical course online.
I'm now a consultant in the tech space.
You have more options than you think. You can do this.
You will find something.
You will find something new.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made home ownership happen. Homeschooling yourself on loans, beefing up your credit score.
So I'm pre-approved.
You were like, yes! Sorry. Color coding listings, ticking boxes, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. Home sweet home. You aced house hunting. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Welcome back to Bobcat Breakdown. Now, let's talk some acrobatics and tumbling. The Bobcats traveled west last week and took on Azusa Pacific and Oregon. Do you think the Bobcats would rather meet Baylor in the semifinals or the finals? Because this meet potentially put them over into the 2 seed.
Yeah, I do think they have a good potential of being that 2 seed going into the championships there. I think you want them in the final because, one, they're going to be coming off of momentum, winning that game before. I think it's going to probably be against Gannon since Oregon might drop because they've already had 2 losses, one to Baylor, one to Quinnipiac this past weekend. So I think coming off of 2 big wins, you have the momentum, plus the big thing is Baylor's not someone you can easily beat. I mean, they haven't lost in 32 games. So if you want to beat them, I think you need them coming off of a little bit of achiness, 2 meets, maybe their bodies aren't at their strength. And if Quinnipiac's coming off of energy, strength, and they're excited to get to that moment, I think that's their best chance at facing Baylor with an opportunity to win.
But if you want them in the finals, you want the biggest challenge in the finals, or do you want them in the semi? But okay, hold on. There's going to be a theme here for the next couple of minutes. Men's ice hockey, 1980, beat Russia in the semifinals. They cruised to the finals, won the gold, won the Quinnipiac acrobatics and tumbling. You want the same thing. You want them in the semifinals, so then you can cruise to a finals win.
No team is going to beat Baylor in the semifinals. You need them off of a couple of days because then at least you're getting them
never say never.
down a little bit.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. I just think
Just because
this team hasn't lost in 32 meets. 32 meets. They haven't lost. And if you look at
History
all
can't
the
always
scores,
repeat itself. It's about time that they finally close it out.
Baylor has outscored Quinnipiac in every category by a decent amount. I really just don't think you want them in the semifinals. You need the momentum going into the game.
They finally learned from their mistakes and they can finally take over and win one. It has to be in the semifinals.
I don't think that that's how it works. So, Ashley, honestly, you're a big acrobatics and tumbling person. I honestly think you want them in the end, so maybe they're a little weaker.
I mean, I would have to
let
agree
her
with
try to
Emily here.
convince you to take her side. No, okay. That's fine. on. You rigged the last
No,
game
I
that
did
we
not.
played. Now you're rigging this question.
Okay.
It's a
maybe
witch
you
hunt.
maybe you can earn your redemption with this next one because
Sure,
you're a big
fine.
ice hockey guy. Moving over to the ice, men's ice hockey took on RPI in the second round of the ECAC tournament. Quinnipiac beat RPI 5-1 in their first matchup and 5-2 in their second. Does this performance this past weekend concern you heading into Placid, knowing how much they've struggled in the past?
Not one bit. I mean, they are the higher ranked. They're going to play St. Lawrence. They beat St. Lawrence 8-1 later in the
I
season.
thought you were supposed to be the hockey guy.
I am the hockey guy. It's okay. Let me take this one. It's quite all right. If it's okay. They've given up only 69 goals. They have a lockdown defense. They've scored 153.
But how have they scored against St. Lawrence?
They put up 9.
They lost to St. Lawrence
Okay,
last,
they've lost
I believe.
once. They've outscored them 12
They're going
to
up against
3.
the St. Lawrence goalie in Ben Cross, who has a 91.8 save percentage, shut down the team. That guy looked unstoppable in the net in the last matchup. When Quinnipiac lost 3-1, Cross had 41 saves in that game.
For everyone at home,
And one goal
you
against.
won 8-1,
One goal against.
and you're playing the same team. Just because there were two different goalies, you still had put 12 goals in the back of the net against the same team. Essentially,
But
the
it's not
identical
the same
team.
goaltender.
Anything can happen in the playoffs. It's late.
Sure, anything can happen. I don't see this team being able to get past Cross enough. I mean, 3-1 against St. Lawrence in the last matchup. Only one goal
But they were also,
got into the back
like
of
what
the
you're
net.
thinking with
Also-
traveling and whatnot, they traveled all the way up to New York. It was a travel day for them. They weren't in their home rink. They weren't sleeping in
Wait,
their own
are
bed.
these playoffs happening at Quinnipiac? I didn't hear about that actually.
What I'm saying.
Oh,
is
they're
that
traveling.
They're traveling
to Lake Placid.
but they're traveling to Lake Placid, where again, like I said before, dreams can. This is where
still travel.
Dreams happen at Lake Placid, as I mentioned last time.
Yeah, dreams
1980
happen
men's
when
ice
I
hockey
sleep.
team.
That doesn't mean it's going to happen when I wake up.
Okay.
It's delusional.
It's now time.
I can't fathom with this one anymore. I just can't.
It's now time for our final commercial break of the night. Don't go anywhere because when we come back, we will each have our final roars for you.
Honey, what I think you need is a socket wrench.
I played JV basketball.
I'm sorry. I don't think it looks right.
This is good, and it's all good, baby.
Is it really all good?
If you love me enough to routinely test your handyman skills, not to mention the strength of your marriage, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/therightseat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
I'm gonna call my dad.
Meet the scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you.
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
I think it's just vapor with flavor.
It won't hurt my kid like cigarettes, right?
Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
My kid?
My kid knows it's dangerous.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping, maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers.
Welcome back, Bobcats. It's now time for our final roars. Mike's gonna lead us off. Mike, take it away.
Thank you, Ashley. Lake Placid is where dreams are made. I mentioned earlier in our program that the 1980 Olympic men's ice hockey team knocked off Russia in stunning fashion. While the Quinnipiac men's ice hockey team might be the favorites due to a national championship when it comes to Lake Placid and the Herb Brooks Arena, Quinnipiac might as well be the Boston Bruins of the 1970s playing in the Montreal Forum. Those Bruins lost 14 straight times and the ghosts haunted them. But in 1976, they slayed the dragon and finally won. This prediction can be said for the men's ice hockey team as they gear up to go up north to Lake Placid in upstate New York. While Lake Placid gives hockey fans fond memories of the days of yore, all the men's ice hockey team sees are ghosts of the past. It's been 8 long years since their last Whitelaw Cup, and since then, they have been upset by lesser-ranked opponents on multiple occasions. But when you have ghosts, who are you going to call? The Ghostbusters! Backed up by Vinny Duplessis, Mason Marcellus, superstar Colin Graff, and Captain Jaden Lee, there is no reason why Lake Placid should be seen as a haunted house. The Quinnipiac men's ice hockey team needs to go through the horror horrors that have been Lake Placid in order to see the blue skies on the other side en route to defending their prestigious national championship.
Last week, I spent my spring break in Atlantic City covering the men's and women's basketball teams for the last time. This was a bittersweet moment as it was my last time beat reporting for Q30. However, it allowed me to reflect on my 4 years of beat reporting various sports through this organization. One thing that stood out to me the most was looking back on how much our content means and resonates with more than just our organization and families watching. The coaches and players of the teams that we cover also see the work that we put in, and they appreciate it more than we know. The last home game of the regular season, women's basketball head coach Trisha Fabry replaced her opening statement with a thank you to student media. Here's what she had to say.
And you all are there like it's second to none, and I have appreciated you all in the coverage and the angles and the stories, and then not only becoming hopefully fans of our program, getting to know us, but your talent in reporting, because I'm following y'all and watch y'all, and you are really amazing, and remember me when.
Then, after the press conference for the quarterfinal game where Coach Fabry and the squad got knocked out of the tournament, Coach Fabry came over to a couple of us and thanked us all once again for our content throughout the season. That was the trigger for me to realize how impactful our content here at Q30 can be on the actual teams and how appreciative they are for what we do. I wish when I started out as a beat reporter, I knew this information. So I want each and every one of you who are out there looking to start or continue beat reporting to remember that everyone is watching and your content reaches further and means more than you may think.
Acrobatics and tumbling. What is it? Is it dance, gymnastics, cheer? The answer to that question is actually yes. It's actually all of these things that makes it so unique. This up-and-coming sport offers so many opportunities for women to compete at the collegiate level. Why is this so important? First off, for gymnasts, they could excel on the floor event, but not at the other 3 events. So they would not be able to make it to the collegiate level for gymnastics. They could, however, compete as an acro athlete since there is a tumbling event. As a former gymnast who excelled at floor and would not have been able to compete collegiately for gymnastics, this sport would have been perfect for me if I hadn't had sustained several injuries. Most schools have club cheerleading teams, but some cheerleaders wanted more than that. For cheerleaders who want to compete at the Division I level, acrobatics and tumbling offers that for them with the pyramid and acro events. Even some divers are given the opportunities to become acro athletes. The toss event is perfect for them to perform their abilities and skills. Personally, I know 2 acrobatics and tumbling athletes from my gymnastics center back at home, one of which goes here. That's 2 athletes from one gym. Now imagine how many other women there are that are given this opportunity. Gymnasts, cheerleaders, dancers, and even divers and weightlifters. The first acrobatics and tumbling meet, which was held in 2010, included 6 founding schools. The sport now has 54 involved, offering even more opportunities for women year after year. Now, I want to come back to that Baylor debate with the semifinals or finals, and I personally want to give my opinion on it.
Sure.
Hey, I asked for your opinion.
Yeah, you did ask for my opinion, but let's come back to it. Even though they sweeped Azusa Pacific, they sweeped the West, Oregon, that was a hard meet to come by.
Yeah.
Baylor is also a really hard team to come by.
Yeah.
So I think you want to wear them down to the finals.
Yes.
I'm not siding with Emily here.
But you are.
I am siding with Emily here.
Because we're right.
Because we are right. But I just, knowing as a gymnast and knowing teams that I need to compete against, I would rather wear them down first and then compete with them at the end.
I completely agree, Ashley. Also, I did check the math. I'm pretty sure it was 70 turnovers, so I actually won by a lot.
But technically, officially though, I won the point
anyway. But I would have won that point because it was 70, not 65.
But technically, on a technicality, I won the point.
Realistically, Ashley knows, I know. I won this debate that I waited 3 years for.
I don't think you did.
That's
I don't think you did. Okay, whatever you want to say.
We'll call it a tie on my end. That's all we have this week on Bobcat Breakdown. Make sure to follow Q30 and Q30 Sports on X and Instagram, and check out Q30TV.com for more content. For the producers and everyone behind the scenes, he's Mike Simmer. I'm Emily Sweeney. She's Emily Sweeney, and I'm Ashley Poppins. Stay classy, Bobcats.